Hello guys, I'm finally back. I sort of got burned out a few days ago. So yeah, I'm back and today we're gonna be talking about Hollow's Heart. So yeah, let's begin ladies and gents. And oh boy, this is going to be a really fun episode. So we would go to the perspective of the battle between the Demon Lord's army and the Demon Lord's army. I meant the Order. But more or less it's basically them, as they're currently fighting each other. As while they were doing so, the Minotaur from last episode would be commanding them to grab all of the men, or what she calls as fresh meat. And if you're wondering, no, she's currently not married. Yet. Oh no. As while she was commanding her army, she would sense something from the horizon, or more specifically, from the nearby mountains. As the rest of the army and also the order would also sense that. They would look over as the commander of the general of the order's army would say, "What in?" As they would see a large creature that would start to emerge. It would resemble that of, well, let me just show you a picture. By the way, I'm not gonna be drawing. I mean, let's just say I've been busy lately, mostly because of college, so I won't be able to draw all that much lately. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you descriptions, but I will show you some pictures to give you a sort of idea what it's going to look like. So this is what I call as Era, aka Yami's, resurrection, or at least Izuku's version. To me, when I saw Era, I thought, how? First, it started off as like a centaur slash dinosaur theme for Yami, but then when he started like getting more and more angry, it evolved into sort of like a Segundo Etapa. Afterwards, it becomes more gorilla-like. But when I first thought of that, I go like, why not just go for a whole like centaur theme? And then I just keep looking through it, and then I just decided, yeah, I know, maybe like a Nicolavi, aka an Irish sea demon, or at least I think that's I think that's supposed to be the Nicolavi's idea. But more or less, it basically looks like this. Essentially, a large Nekalavi, about the same size as, like, let's just say about the same size as like the armored or attack Titan from Attack on Titan. But except instead of having these large arms, they're essentially just bony, Kanabo. And the face is essentially just a large skull-like hollow mask with like one large horn that resembles that of, I guess you could say, a unicorn in a way, a really fucked up unicorn, with the bones on the back resembling that of spikes. And I could also imagine its tail almost resembling that of the original Resurrection. In fact, something like a large Kanabo as well. As the large creature emerges from the smoke, every single person there, including that of the Order's army, would go like, "What is this?" as the creature would roar. And if you're wondering, Izuku in this case, being that of the embodiment of rage in this case, or at least the aspect of death that Yami represents, is pretty much prevalent. He has no consciousness at this point. He's basically he's essentially like Angron from 40k, aka Warhammer 40k. He's essentially just anger, rage incarnate. After rising from the smoke, it would shoot out a Cero, or should I say a Gran Rey Cero, as one of the people there, specifically a member of the Order's army, would try to strike it, using a simple spell. And if you're wondering, no, it's not going to be like, let's just say it's a spell, or at least somewhat of a spell, created by the Order to basically stop demons, or in this case, monster girls or mononos, or just monster girls in general. Doing so, it would crack the bit of the mask. Actually, not even crack it at this point, as it would cause a bit of blood. Doing so, it would start creating a Gran Ray Zero, because if you don't know, Gran Ray Zeros only activate if the actual, Arrancar would actually add in a bit of blood to the Zero. Doing so, it would start to grow and grow as the soldiers of the Order and the Demon Lord's army would notice this. As they would say, run! They would say, as they would try to run away from the blast. But unfortunately for them, they're already too late, as the blast would destroy everything, creating a large ravine afterwards. The beast, also known as, Era, I'm just gonna call it Era now, because technically, I guess you could say that they're technically in their, resurrections, and they have to change their names in this case. So, as Era would finish the blast, it would create a large ravine. But it's more like a, how do I see it? I guess you could say if water comes in, and if enough water basically comes in, it would probably make a large river in that case. But the more or less, it created a large area of effect that destroyed everything. After that attack, everybody that was nearby, including that of the Chimera that was about to take away Izu's innocence, would say, "What is he?" She would say, as some of them, specifically that the Chimera would say, "What is he?" She would say, "That attack, it nearly destroyed everything," said the lion part of her personality, as the dragon would say, "It felt primal, almost similar to that of before the age of the new Demon Lord." But how? As they would all notice that I meant Izuku, as Izuku would start raising up its Kanabo-like arm, as it would start charging up another Bala, as he would start dragging it through the area, as it would destroy the land nearby, or should I say the cliffside, as some of the orcs and the high orc would base, if you don't know, this is the high orc, and this is the regular orc. They would start running away from the area thinking, "Shit, we're about to die," they would say, as they would leave, immediately. Doing so, they would see, oh boy, a lot of the Demon Lord's army would start running away as well. As while doing so, Izuku would start getting ready to leave, as his somewhat horse-like legs would start, how do I say this? Would start standing up, as it would reach to its full height. Almost the same, how do I see this? Yeah. While sitting down, it's about the same size as or at least somewhat of the same size as the Attack Titan, but in its full size, as in, when Izuku is finally standing up in that resurrection, he's about the same size as two Attack Titans stacked up on each other's shoulders. Doing so, the large beast itself, aka, Izuku, would roar, as the horse head right there would also roar, as it would start galloping away slowly, because considering the size, I would imagine that it would be slow but pretty fast at the same time. While it was doing so, some of the Order would say, "That monstrosity, destroy it!" They would say, as they would start firing at the beast, aka, Izuku. As while they were doing so, it would barely work, considering that he's also using Hero, which is basically iron skin. Or at least that's what the translation says on, the wiki. While they were doing that, some of the members of the Demon Lord's army would see that it was not taking any damage, as they would say this to themselves: "What is he? Or what is it?" As while they were saying that, Izuku, or Ira in this case, would look towards the Order's army. The Order would be shocked seeing that their attacks were pretty much useless, as Izuku would raise his Kanabo-like arms, as he would slam it down, destroying the area around it, or at least, that was in the, into the zone of the impact. In that specific area where his Kanabo-like arms were about to crash, several of the Order's, knights and mages were basically crushed into oblivion. The ones that survived would be in shock, as some of their bodies would be stuck on these spikes, or the bone-like spikes that are attached to the Kanabo-like arms. Doing so, the large creature now known as Ira would start charging up another blast. As doing so, he would say, "Sarah." Doing so, a blast would destroy another part of the, Demon Lord's army, destroying another part of it. Some of the members of the Order would start running away, trying to not get killed, as the one that was ordering them would say, "Stop it, you idiots! If we lose now, we're..." But before he can, the beast would look towards him, as you'd say, "Get away from me, you beast!" He would say, as he would fire off a slash of light from his sword. But the slash of light would do nothing to it, as it would look towards him, as you would say, the beast, slowly saying, "Murder, destroy." Doing so, he would raise up its large hooves, as the creature would get ready to stomp on him. When he saw this, he would say, "Shit, shit," he would say, as he would grab onto his shield, trying to think, "This shield is made from the goddess herself. There's no way that he..." But unfortunately, that shield was nothing to it. Doing so, the beast would crush that hero. Everybody was in shock, thinking, "No way, that shield was made by the goddess herself. But how did he..." As after getting his hooves, cleaned up after squashing the guy, the creature would look towards the rest of the army, fleeing, as the creature would start turning into gas? Or more like it's imagine something like, Attack on Titan, again, it would start, melting away, as, hot steam would start coming out, as it would start falling to the ground. The Order's army are finally gone, but the rest of the Demon Lord's army would stay, thinking, "Wait, what is it doing?" As we would go back to the Chimera herself. The Chimera would start flying towards the direction of where Izuku is, as she would say, "We need to save him," she would say. Said the lion half, or at least the lion personality, as the goat-like personality would say, "Yeah, we don't want to get our newly found husband getting hurt," she would say. As the dragon half would say, Yeah, let's just hurry up so we can go." As they would see the large creature that was, what Izuku was now, would start turning into meat, essentially, as powerful gusts of steam, really hot, hot steam to be more exact, would start spewing out. As in the head of the creature would start coming out Izuku, as he's completely knocked out. And so, this is where we're gonna be ending off this episode. So, yeah. So, bye bye.